My parents were the first ones to always run to the billboard to check for our names. They would come back disappointed, but I didn't understand why. I was terrified of going to an unknown place. I saw change as the enemy. The day our name finally got posted, my mom asked me and my sister to go see because she couldn't deal with another disappointment. But she was still hopeful enough to want to know. When our name, Musa, was posted on the board, I panicked, and I ran home without my sister, and I told my mom. She was sitting outside in front of our small brick brown house. She had a thoughtful expression on her face. The sun was setting on the horizon. I got home breathless with fatigue, running from the heat. My mom stood up so fast when I got close to her. Her face transformed with so many different emotions: hope, despair, happiness, excitement, sad, and disappointment. Well, she said. I saw a name, I mumbled with disappointment. She was so joyful, clapping and in tears, full of happiness, and she said, "About time we leave this hellhole." But I was gasping, and I started shaking. I was dying inside. I couldn't breathe fast enough to ask my mom, "What does this mean?" Even though I already knew. I was born in Somalia in 1990, where my ancestors were forced to be during the Arab slave trade. My family fled Somalia in 1996 to Kenya, where they were in a refugee camp until 2004. By then, starvation and famine took a toll until the United Nations and the International Organization of Migration, the IOM, stepped in to help. The solution was to bring some of the refugees to the United States for a chance to survive and for a better life. I was 14 years old when my family resettled in the US. Kakuma refugee camp is located in Kenya. The houses were made of mud bricks with tiny holes as windows and a side door. The neighborhoods were divided as blocks. There were hundreds of them. Ours was block DB, which was the only way you could tell them apart because they ran out of alphabets. The roofs were made of bruised iron sheet metal. The rows of houses were surrounded by fencing made of thorn, barbed wire, dead trees, which were used as gates to keep the rebels out. Most of the houses were overcrowded. A typical family had 10 kids in the family sharing one space. We were a family of 8, my parents and my 5 sisters. Rukia, Binti, Sitei, Halima, Boni, and myself were sharing one room with our parents. The weather was usually dry and harsh, always in the drought. So dry, the ground is cracked and dusty, the roads unpaved. Sometimes it would rain. It would give off a fresh, earthy smell. We always knew when a storm was on the way. We could smell it. We played hide and seek in the tall, mushy, photorized green grass, running in the rain with laughter, getting water for the family and doing chores. There were thorn bushes throughout the camp. My parents slept on a brick mud bed with mosquito nets. We slept on the floor with blankets. There was no enough water for showers. Most of the kids had to potty outside, while the parents dig deep holes in the ground, built a shelter around it, and used it as homemade toilets. But it was dangerous. Kids would fall in. People called it Mahali Hakumonyeza, the waiting room, purgatory. Just a temporary survival with footprints of generations abandoned from previous people who lived there before us. Going in, we knew there was a possibility that we would not stay there permanently. At night, we would look for sparkly stars, watching the pink-orange illumination of twilight, waking up to the chickens as alarm clocks in the morning, to catch the yellow-orange milky radiance of dawn after a downpour, which only happens once in a blue moon. Going back home after ages, body heavy with fatigue, it's dinner time. Time to catch a spot on the floor, to sleep as if in a coma, next to my 5 other siblings and not feel a thing, because my tiny body has passed out but still blissful. I am home for the moment, even if it was just temporary. I knew change was coming. The process had already started. My parents had an orientation prior to leaving the camp. They were instructed you could only take the clothes you're wearing and change of clothes for the next 5 days, nothing else. The IOM told them about San Diego, about toilets being inside the house. Ew. about inside stoves that lit fire without smoke, so we wouldn't have to worry about teary eyes while cooking. Tall buildings, stairs, fridges. They talked about how they saw pictures of everything America had to offer. My parents would come home and tell us everything they learned about our new home. Everyone was excited, but I was paralyzed with fear. America? San Diego? I didn't want to leave the only place I knew. Kakuma was my home, my friends, everything I ever knew. What is waiting for me in this new place, I wonder. When my mom talked about San Diego, America in general, she would say it was perfect. Life would be so much better. We'll never go hungry again. Education was free. Houses are like palaces. It's so cold. We would need jackets to be inside. White frozen sand pours from the sky. Even the white walls are freezing. There's a white rectangle in the kitchen that's full of food. It's never empty, so we would always have something to eat. Our stomach will never burn like it's on fire from hunger, or wondering what's for dinner. We wouldn't have to gas lamps. Lights would be everywhere. We wouldn't need the moon to see the night either. There would be soft, spongy beds for our butts. We'll never sleep on the hard cracked floor again. The outside is full of fresh air. You could feel the breeze. The air will press your face like fingers. Yeah, right. I was skeptical. There was no such thing. San Diego, March 2004, riding in a car for the very first time, racing through the downtown traffic with my whole family into the unknown. It's the evening, lights everywhere, shining brighter than a lone moon in the desert. Buildings taller than giraffes has me thinking, where is this place? Am I gonna live up there? I am paralyzed with fear. Height is not my specialty. Lights passing by are as bright as stars. The moon is non-existent, but the night is still as bright as day. I am on my way to my new home with my family, on our way to the unknown. The uncertainty of our destination has me thinking about the unknown that lies ahead. That lies ahead has me seeing the blur of the glare, all the different lights from the giant buildings around me, cars zooming by. San Diego was everything my mom said it was, minus the money growing on trees in the backyard. Half naked people everywhere. People that look like aliens with different skin colors with blue and green cat eyes. Other than the shock, it seemed my anxiety was unnecessary. It was heaven. We had spongy beds that we were scared to sleep on for weeks. We had food in our house every day. We got to go to school a month later. It was torture being new without speaking English, but at least girls were allowed to attend school. We had more clothes to change to every day. We had parks to go to, toys to play with. We had a box that talked and showed moving images. We lived upstairs. We had 3 bedrooms with multiple windows as big as our door back at the camp. We had soft mini beds for our butts while watching TV. The weather was very familiar. It was everything that we hoped for, or so I thought. But America came with rules. We had to assimilate. blend, which came with identity confusion. Being a teenager in America is a disaster. I was in high school and I didn't read or speak English. I had to juggle 2 different cultural standards. I got in trouble at school for not looking at my teacher, claimed I wasn't listening. At home, my mom yelled at me for making eye contact, said I was defying her. I had to learn to act a certain way to minimize getting bullied for being different, and to act a certain way at home so I didn't appear too Americanized and disrespectful towards my parents. And I also had to deal with society's expectations. They didn't teach my parents this part of being in America. As my teenage years disappeared, adulthood approached. I learned that not everything is a fairy tale with a happily ever after. Our new home came with walls, bans, ice, and executive orders that changed lives. A point of a pen is a weapon here. Our new home came with high rent with no rent control, living paycheck to paycheck, feeling unsafe from our authorities, overpriced college education, and fighting for our rights to call America home again. But this is home. We belong here. Yeah.